My name's Trent Jansen. I'm a multidisciplinary designer. My philosophical approach comes from my want and desire and need to be sustainable in everything that I do. I've always been interested in graffiti and street art. It always evokes some kind of emotion, whether it be somebody hating it or somebody loving it, it doesn't really matter, but it's open for everybody to see. It's a very social art form. It's like a haphazard, fleeting exhibition on the street for people to view as they walk by. Especially the kind of graffiti that has some kind of point of view to get across, whether it be some kind of activist point of view or just something about the neighbourhood that it exists in. You know, graffiti for graffiti's sake even, just beautiful graffiti or stencil art that isn't necessarily saying anything is also beautiful and also has its place in this kind of open forum. Something that exists for a fleeting period of time and then can be painted over. I think that kind of is what makes it nice. That it's always changing, it's always evolving, it's always speaking about what people are thinking at that point in time. It's like any art form though, I think the graffiti artists that have really gained a lot of credibility and notoriety are the ones that don't necessarily use the skill but have something interesting to say. The 3D stencil just came from what I saw to be a really simple link between stencil art and what I'm doing. Being a designer and being more interested in what I do in objects and the three-dimensional by using a simple mould and a simple can of expanding foam and basically just attaching the mould to a wall, injecting it full of expanding foam, coming back a couple of hours later when the foam is cured, pulling the mould away and I'm left with a form that's attached to the wall. So it's basically just two-dimensional stenciling but in a three-dimensional form. So I started working with any foams that I could get my hands on, but then when I started reading up more and more about these foams, because I like to be aware of the materials that I'm using and what's in them, I started to find out that there are particular ingredients in them that aren't good for the environment. I decided that I would slow the project down a lot until I could find a foam that I felt ethically comfortable with using. In Japan they produce a couple of particular foams that are environmentally inert. I've just found a supplier in Australia who stocks a similar foam, but I need to get my hands on it and start to explore and experiment a little bit with it. This kind of art form has a real place in our society where people can really express themselves in a very open forum.